Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening, Andrew.
Lots to do tonight.
Yes.
So
yes.
we'll get a shift on.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Doctor Who, obviously, and the android invasion, which sort of gives away the plot, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of those. It's like something of the Daleks.
Yes. You know there's going to be Daleks in it.
End of part one. Oh, it's a Dalek.
Yes. It's a Dalek.
The android invasion sort of. It's cards on the table from when you start.
It doesn't really... Because you sort of got all this mystery in episode 1 about the soldier.
Episode 1 is really well constructed.
All the people in the pub and all the coins and everything. And you're then, well, there's obviously some androids involved somewhere.
Yeah, there's lots of clues to what would be a very good mystery if you didn't already know what it was.
Yeah. I mean, the thing, that it's, for once, the viewer is ahead of the Doctor.
Yeah.
Because of the knowledge of the story title, the viewer knows that there's going to be some androids.
Yeah.
Whereas the Doctor and Sarah, for a couple of episodes, think there's duplicates of, they've made doubles of people, or duplicates of people, or they've brainwashed people rather, like Benton and Harry and stuff.
But I do like the filming.
Yeah, the stuff in
it's done really well.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or East Hagborn, as I think it really is. But it's Barry Letts directing, and coming back to the series after about a year and a bit.
Yes. And
the series has changed noticeably since he's left it. But I mean, it's interesting. We're talking about 3 stories, and you've got 3 directors with quite different styles, I think, and it does show up interestingly. I mean, Tom's got his sore throat, hasn't he? From
being in the lake,
from swallowing too much water.
Yes.
See, pond problems already.
Pond problems, yeah. Always problem with a pond.
Yeah. You've got a little bit of Benton and Harry.
Yeah, but somebody said, "What's the point of bringing them back?" And then you do waste them a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the Colonel Faraday.
Colonel Faraday, which was meant to be the Brigadier, but Nicholas Courtney was unfortunately not available. Fortunately not available.
It's perhaps played a bit too much for comedy, but I do like things like Kralls. Never heard of them. As though he's insulted that he's being invaded by something that he's never heard of.
Yeah.
You know, if it was Daleks or Cybermen, he might have...
be like, "Whoa, yay, heard of them."
It's almost as though he's sort of wishing it was better.
Yes.
Yeah. But Milton Johns is great.
He is great, though I would question... Does he wear his eye patch everywhere?
Yeah.
Does he wear his eye... Obviously he wears it in bed. Does he wear it if he has a shower? Yeah. If he washes his hair? How can he not even see...
Well, it's got to be some sort of hypnosis-y thing, hasn't it, I suppose?
But otherwise surely you would see light around the edge, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
But,
I don't know.
It is a good image, though.
I mean, I quite like the design of the Kralls. I mean, yes, unfortunately the Roy Skelton one does come out a bit too zippy, doesn't he? You know, that is a good idea, Stigrid.
Yes, we have frequently quoted that at each other over the years.
But again, I lived in sort of Dorset Village, and Cranbourne was not far up the road, and the pub there was the Fleur de Lis.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, and Warren lived opposite the Fleur de Lis.
Okay.
So I'd go to Cranbourne to visit Warren, and I'd always think of the android invasion.
Okay.
So it's that village atmosphere thing that's very nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's by no means the best story of that season. But even so, it's
a decent
it's
start
still
to the
decent enough.
season.
And yes, Kenneth Williams maybe wasn't that impressed by this one.
No,
we should have got the diary.
But we probably couldn't find it.
I'll dig it out. I'll try and remember to dig it out for later on. And just to start.
It's just
with
basically Doctor Who's getting very silly.
Yeah, get more and more silly.
More and more silly.
As I think. So he doesn't mind it being a bit silly.
But it's very silly.
But I don't agree. It's again, for a kid, it's quite an intriguing setup.
Yeah.
And we should say about when the village dissolves, because we've said it in our Are You Being Served video, haven't we?
Yeah,
but
they used the same photo.
Yeah, the village dissolves to a caption slide of some sort of desert.
Yes.
And it's one of the
options they get.
One of the holiday locations that Grace Brothers staff are offered in the episode Hurrah for the Holidays.
Yes. So they're going to Poseidon for the holidays. Yeah. That's a bit far, long way to go, isn't it?
Anyway, there's the android invasion. So next up, I'll put that there. The brain of Morbius, with Tom with a huge head. Look how big Tom is. In there. And there's the DVD cover as well. The brain of Morbius. Scared the living daylights out of me, this one.
I know you said that you always really like Morbius because of particularly of the mind bending sequence.
Well, we'll talk about that towards the end, I think. But it's really, for a studio based story.
Yeah.
The lights have been turned down
a lot.
as low as, I think, almost as low as they can go in this one. This is one of the darkest stories.
In more ways than one.
Yeah, not in subject matter, but just in the way that the set
it's done,
design and lighting is. It's just full of stuff.
It is lovely.
In the shadows. Philip Maddock obviously is.
Philip Maddock
He's
never
enjoying
really,
himself.
He never really gives a bad performance, even when he's not that bothered,
Yeah.
which he's not in his next appearance.
Yeah.
He's still giving a good performance.
But here he's really relishing.
Yes.
And he's got some fantastic insults as well.
For poor Kondo.
It's Bob Holmes is sort of. It's very good at that. That because, there's some lines in Blake Seven Gambit, which a pure Bob Holmes insults, but Brain of Morbius has got a very good sort of stack of them as well. You've got, of course, the Sisterhood of Khan.
Yes, and as we said in the previous video, there's been a few mutterings on Twitter about not having enough female characters in Doctor Who, and here you've got a story with a cast that is almost entirely female, apart from three people.
In percentage terms, it beats any other story up to this point. I think.
Really,
if you can do the sums.
If you're not including Stuart Fell, who plays the monster, who doesn't actually have a sort of speaking role, they're really strong. They're absolutely great characters.
Because I think the implication is they're almost on the same level as the Time Lords.
The Sisterhood and Khan and the Time Lords are both, they're equals.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Stephen Moffat has taken this a little further because obviously he's used the Sisterhood of Khan in the 21st century version of Doctor Who, and he's made them stronger than the Time Lords.
It's interesting that nobody thinks to bring them back in the original run of the series.
No. Well, they obviously thought, we used them for that one story, won't we use them again?
But to me, they're such an interesting concept that, why weren't they brought back? So, good on Robert Holmes for introducing them, and boo to everybody else for not taking up the baton, I think, actually.
And they are great. They're great characters.
Yeah, Kondo was fun. I remember being quite scared of Kondo.
I think that is what he's there for. He's the traditional Frankenstein's assistant.
But the stuff when he's sort of...
Yeah, he's taking hair out. That is a bit creepy.
Is that a bit,
Yeah, you're like, no.
No, get off. But let's talk about the mind bending, shall we?
Yes. Now, I'm sorry, there is absolutely no way that those faces that come after William Hartnell are Morbius.
Why not?
Because there is no way. He takes himself far too seriously to wear silly hats and costumes.
He wouldn't wear hats with feathers in.
And if you ever get the chance, I think you can probably look on the internet.
The photos exist. Yes. Some of the photos are really good. The photo of Christopher Barry is very good, for example. Some other people's photos are not so good. So I'd always hoped for the DVD range that they could find all the original photos, and unfortunately, nobody's been able to come across the negatives for all of them.
Yeah,
which is a great shame.
I did read somewhere on Twitter. Somebody said on Twitter this morning that perhaps they're future incarnations of the Doctor.
How's that work?
But I do think they are previous incarnations because somebody else also pointed out that Davison says when he regenerates it feels different this time, like he's come to the end of his regenerations.
If you watch Doctor Who in order, up to this point we've gotten the Doctor's age, but we never know. The Doctor never says what number he is.
No.
The Time Lords say, "Show me the earliest Doctor," but maybe he wasn't calling himself the Doctor before.
No.
Then.
No.
and you haven't yet established the regeneration.
No, you don't get that until a couple of stories later.
Yeah. So if you do it in order, and of course it's the intent of the production team at the time, that Hinchcliffe and whatever have said, yes, those were intended to be the Doctor.
But you said you got really excited when you were a child.
I was sort of early on in my fan career. Season 13, I think, is the one that really tipped me over into becoming a serious fan. So I had some knowledge that there were earlier Doctors. The idea that there were lots of Doctors before that I didn't even know about was really exciting. And I forget who it is that plays it, but I remember watching at the time thinking, oh, one of those looks like Guy Fawkes.
Yes.
Because
is that Christopher Barry, I think, isn't it?
No, it's not Chris Barry. It's one earlier before that. It's I'd need to go through the photos, because Christopher Barry is actually the last face you see, and it's not that one.
All right.
But yeah, as a kid, I'd not long learned about Guy Fawkes, and I must have seen some picture of him, and he seemed to look one of these faces.
Oh, okay.
And the idea that the Doctor could be historical figures.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Was really, because you've got Hinchcliffe with that silly Cavalier hat.
Yes.
And
because it's Hinchcliffe, and then you've got Graham Harper.
Yeah.
And
Dougie
Camfield. He's probably one of those two because they've got beards.
I think there's Bob Bankstewart in there, Chris Baker.
Or Chris Baker, possibly.
Yeah, I think Chris Baker's the one with the top hat, but again, I might be wrong.
Well, it's all blurry until you see the actual pictures without the effect around them. You can't really tell. No. But we urge you, if you get the chance to seek the pictures out, they are fab.
But yeah, I really like the idea in dramatic terms that what we think we know about the Doctor is only a very small percentage of the truth. That there's so much more to him that we just occasionally see. And actually, jumping back to the android invasion, there's the bit where the Doctor comes round and he's saying about there's 3 sisters that lived in the bottom of the treacle well.
Yes.
And he says, "Are you listening, Tilly?"
Yes.
And I always took that he was talking to a companion that we didn't know anything about.
All right, okay.
Right?
Yes.
And then later on in Mask of Mandragora, we get the console room that we didn't know anything about. So there seems to be a thing.
But they're putting new things in.
That they're saying there's just stuff that you don't know about, and I love that in terms of storytelling. That it opens up so many possibilities, and frankly, I can't be bothered with continuity.
No.
Why should you nail everything down? It just restricts things. And yes, you have to, you had to introduce the Time Lords, and of course you did, but there's so much more freedom. In that sort of, you can write what you like because the Doctor can be anything.
Anything, yeah.
Okay, right. Now, where's it going? Now, there we go. It's sidled off. Yeah. Right. The Seeds of Doom. Just watch it, it's brilliant. Yeah. That's it. No, that's what I wish that was all I could say.
Yes.
It is possibly my favourite story of the original run of Doctor Who.
Okay.
That's a very hard choice to make,
yes.
And I do have 2 or 3 other possibilities. But for me, this is just so strong. And yes, it's all tied up with watching it on original transmission, of course it is.
Yes. Yeah.
But our friend Paul absolutely loves it. And I just think it makes such good use of the 6-part format as well.
It's a 2-part and then a 4-part.
It's a 2 and a 4.
Yeah.
But the events of the first 2 episodes bleed into the final 4.
Influence the second, yeah.
Yeah, you've got Tom and Liz being really good.
Yeah.
Really strong, because that stuff where Sarah shouts down Scorby.
Yes.
What was that you said about women?
Yeah.
That Scorby's scared to go outside, but Sarah is quite prepared to. That's what a companion should be like.
Yeah. Sarah's incredibly strong. I mean, yes, there is a pattern of getting captured, escaping, and getting captured again.
But she's like she was blinded in Brain and Morbius.
But she goes off to find the doctor.
And she goes to find the doctor. Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't let it stop us.
Sarah is somebody that I looked up to as a kid.
Yes.
For being brave.
Yeah. And there's been some discussion of who people's favourite companions are, Tom's companions. And people say to you, who's your favourite Doctor?
Yeah.
And the answer to that question is whichever one you happen to be watching at that moment.
Yes.
And it's the same with the companion. It's whichever companion is the current companion should be your favourite companion. Yeah. Because they're at their strongest, when they're in the show.
But let's just appreciate how all of this writer, actor, director, set design, music, supporting cast, everything comes together. In
everybody is at the top of their game.
Yeah.
The only one who might be slightly iffy is Major Beresford, and he's only in it.
He's got a fairly thankless role, though, hasn't he?
Yes.
He comes in, he shoots the thing, and it doesn't work.
Yes.
And that's about it.
That's what he has to do.
But Sir Colin is wonderful.
He is, yeah.
And he should have been.
He should have said yes.
Come back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he should have said yes, and the doctor asked him to go. All right then. As long as I can be back for me tea. And Amelia Ducar. I mean, what can we say about Amelia Ducar? She's just wonderful and dotty and
Because who is it that plays her?
Sylvia Coleridge.
Because she's dotty in a lot of things, but this is her best.
I've never seen her give a normal performance.
No, this is her best dottiness, I think.
Yeah, because I've seen her in a few things. I've seen her in this. She's in Dixon a Dog Green, where she's got a painting that they're trying to steal, and she's slightly it's toned down a little bit, but she's a bit dotty. She's in Angels, where she's playing a character that's man is a box of frogs. And
convincingly?
Yes.
Very much so.
Very convincing. And if you've not seen her in Blake Seven, Gambit, back in Angels, say watch it.
We should do that one day for a video, actually.
You will be amazed, astonished and horrified in equal measure.
Yeah. But now we have to mention Mr. Chalice.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Chalice.
Hello, John.
We'll send this to you.
Yes.
We'll send you the link.
Yes.
So, yes, hello.
You are wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, Scorby got a lot of love.
He did.
On the transmissions.
And he's a very unlikable character, but you can't help quite liking him in a way.
It was very interesting because I didn't sort of watch the chat room all the way through. But I thought I'd tune in for the last sort of episode and a bit just to see what people were saying, and there were things like this tough dude is kind of cool, which really made me laugh.
You're a dude, John. You're a dude.
A tough dude who's kind of cool, and what was it? Scorby proper acting in big capital letters, and the death scene. Everybody was sad. It was like poor Scorby and loads of sad faces.
Which makes a change because every time we've seen it, because John always uses it as part of his one-man show, and it always gets a laugh.
Yeah, people get sort of titter at it. Yeah. And I don't see why.
Because it's
the trouble is it's taken out of context.
Yes, you don't see the stuff before and the stuff after. But I mean, you got a bottle of whiskey for it. He did it in one take.
But Athelhampton House is a lovely place to visit.
It is, and it looks a lot bigger than it actually is on there. It's really not as big as it looks on the screen.
But the stuff with the crinoids squatting on top of the house was incredibly scary as a kid. There's only a few shots of it, but it's pulled off really well.
And the bit where you said it runs at the camera.
Yeah, it looked like it was coming out of the telly, but it's the final model shots that really scared me because they looked absolutely genuine to me as a kid. Now I can see how it's done, but even looking at because there are a couple of production photographs of it, and it still looks horrible. And it's one of the few monsters that I used to have dreams about.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so it got in my head. And it's the giant-sized crinoid.
Yes.
It's not the smaller one. So the idea, it was almost like, because it was so big, it could reach out and get you even if you were like sort of
a long way away.
It's that thing of, it's on the horizon, but it could get you. And that's very effective. So for a final Doctor Who, story by Douglas Camfield.
Directed by Douglas Camfield. Written by Robert Banks Stewart.
Of course,
Who seems to sort of be writing the Avengers in some
but
ways.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Doctor Who shouldn't... There should be no Doctor Who format.
No.
You can write any show style for Doctor Who, I think,
Yes.
pretty much, and that's another reason I like that. You shouldn't nail down what Doctor Who should be. It can be all sorts of things, but yeah, I mean, Dougie absolutely pulls it off.
Yeah, it is fab. It's absolutely fab.
And Jeffrey Bergen's music again.
Yeah, it really
making a return after Zygons.
It goes really well with it.
Yeah.
And of course you get that wonderfully discordant hymn to plant life that Harrison Chase plays.
Well, we should talk about Harrison Chase as well.
Oh, Harrison Chase, yes. If you only see Tony Beckley in this, I mean, obviously he's at this point he's been in oh God, I've forgotten the name. The Italian Job.
As Camp Freddy.
Yeah. Where he's Cam.
Yeah.
And he's a wee bit camp in this, but he's so sinister.
It's that precision. Yeah. It's things like he's wearing the gloves because he doesn't want to sort of touch things.
And the bit where he's taken over by the Krynoid, it's a really eerie performance because suddenly all the campness goes and it's just down the line, focused and sinister.
Because isn't he in a couple of Sergeant Corps?
He is, and one of them...
And we couldn't recognise him.
We didn't even recognise him until we saw the... What? No, that wasn't Tony Beckley,
because it was such a different performance.
He was playing a sort of hard man character, and it was really different. It was amazing. He was a very good actor.
But absolutely fantastic story.
It's a brilliant cast.
And... I mean, I think didn't we say to Graham Harper? Did we speak to Graham Harper once about?
Possibly, I can't remember.
I can't remember if we asked him about it or said, because of course, sadly, I never got to meet Dougie.
No.
It was a great shame because I would have liked to tell him how much this story meant to me as a kid.
But Graham Harper was like his right hand man. He was his Batman, wasn't he? That's the way he sort of looked at it. Because there's the story of
the jumpers,
the jumpers, and he gave him the wrong jumper, and Dougie was very annoyed because he'd given him the.
They had military jumpers with the insignia, and one was a sergeant, and one was a
captain, or
a colonel or something. Yeah.
And he gave him the sergeant's one, and Dougie was not pleased.
I like that.
To swap. Oh, sorry, Gav.
And we did interview John briefly for Round the Archives, and I did get the chance to say, if you sort of follow my fan career, this is the period of run of stories that turn me into a fan, which lead me to buying Doctor Who magazine, which lead me to joining the Doctor Who Appreciation Society, which lead me to working on Ray Fay's Shift tape scene, which lead me to being in Nick's films, which lead me to meeting you, which lead us to being together, which lead us to being on this sofa tonight. There is a thread that follows all the way through from this period of stories, and that's why they mean so much to me. So thank you to everyone who was involved in that period of the show, because you did me a lot of good, I think, in the end.
And there is one more thing before we go.
Is there?
Yes. Yes. The last time we watched Seas of Doom.
Yes.
DVD,
yes.
I think we did it in three episode chunks, didn't we? So we did the first 3 episodes and the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And it just got to the last frame of episode 6's titles.
Yeah.
And all the lights went out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Literally bang on the end of the credit.
Douglas Canfield, bang. No lights, no electricity.
No, because a bulb had blown in the kitchen and it tripped the switch.
Yeah.
And that was like, God, it's the Krynoid. The Krynoid's pulled the wires out. Had that happened halfway through the episode, it would have been extraordinarily scary. Yeah. But it was quite eerie.
Okay, well, there you are. So, end of season 13, and we'll be back soon with season 14.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.